Hey crafty friends, it's Joy here, and I am super excited to share this postage themed Easter card with you today using some really fun products. We are going to be using the Hip Hop Happy Easter. This is the sentiment stamp, and there's coordinating dies. Then we have the Postmarked cutting plate, the Postmarked Springtime 3D embossing folder, and these images are darling, and then a coordinating stencil for that. I'm also going to be using the Bits and Pieces champagne and then the Tip and Tidy that's going to go with that, and I will show you that here in a little bit. I'm also using the Garden Variety die set, and I'm going to be using Lime Zest, Pear, Saltwater Taffy, and Cupcake, along with the same inks, but we're going to be using a banana cream pie, Oreo ink, blender brushes, and I'm going to be using a little bit of the Sugar Cube re-inker. So I have a piece of slightly smaller than an A2 size of the Saltwater Taffy cardstock, and I'm going to be placing that in my 3D embossing folder. This is the Postmarked Springtime 3D folder. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and then we have this gorgeous background. But I want to highlight some of that embossing. I just think it's so fun, and the images are darling. So I'm going to take the coordinating ink, which is the Saltwater Taffy, and lightly rub over the raised areas on my cardstock. I'm not pressing down hard with the ink pad. I'm going over it really lightly, and it's just going to catch those raised areas. You can also see that I'm going in different directions because it's going to catch in different directions as well, and you can go as light or as dark as you would like. Now that that's done, I'm going to put that aside, and we are going to start with our stenciling. So on a piece of Sugar Cube cardstock, I'm using banana cream ink, or a banana cream pie, excuse me, and I'm just starting with stencil 1, and I'm coloring everything the same color. And I'm just using traditional springtime colors, and I think this card turned out so fun, so springy, so Eastery. I love it. We have our second stencil on here, and I'm using Cupcake ink, and I'm using the Pastel blender brushes because these are softer inks. They're not the super dark ones, so it's totally perfect to go with these lighter inks. So I'm going to get a good blend over that. We're going to go on to our third stencil, and I will place this down, and I have the little square marks on the top left and on the side right that I ink blended onto my grid paper here, so I know exactly where to line up the stencil every single time. So now I have the Lime Zest, and again this is stencil 3, and I'm just going to ink blend over the whole stencil. Nothing has to be correct as far as colors go because we have a little green bird here, but it's totally perfect. And then our fourth and final stencil along with the Saltwater Taffy ink. And then I'm just going to ink blend over this stencil. And then we're going to have these darling, darling images that coordinate with the 3D embossing folder. So you could do the 3D embossing folder and then place your stencils over it and ink blend from there, and that would be really, really cute too. But that's not what I did today. Okay, now I'm going to use that coordinating Postmarked cutting plate die. I'm going to make sure everything is nicely lined up, and then I'm going to tape this on the bottom and the top with some low tack tape, and then I can run this through my die cut machine and pop out all of those little images. Now on my background, I'm going to add a little bit of white splatter using the Sugar Cube re-inker, a little bit of water, and just a paintbrush, and I'm going to splatter this all over that background. Then in my Misti, I want to stamp my sentiment. I am using the Hip Hop Happy Easter stamp set, and I'm using the Hip Hop Happy Easter. And I opted to go with the Saltwater Taffy ink for this, and I'm glad I did. Again, it matches that background coordinating cardstock, and it looks so, so pretty. So I stamped that a couple times, and I'm going to use the coordinating die to die cut that out. So I taped that down, run that through my die cut machine. Now I thought it would be fun to take some of those stenciled images that we die cut, and I'm going to place those on some of the coordinating images that are on the 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to put a few of those around. Now in the center, I do have that butterfly. I actually end up removing it because when I was doing my layout, it just wasn't working with the sentiment. That's where I needed the sentiment to be. So I'm actually going to remove that butterfly and then we can put the sentiment there. So look at how cute that is. And I also adhered it to an A2 size piece of Cupcake cardstock because remember that the saltwater taffy cardstock is, I trimmed it down slightly smaller. So now we have our sentiment that says hip hop happy Easter. And then from the garden variety die set, I have die cut from Pear cardstock, Pear and Lime Zest cardstock. This is Lime Zest cardstock. No, this is Pear cardstock, excuse me. And I die cut a few of the leaves. And then from the Cupcake cardstock, I have die cut some flowers. I just wanted to bring a little bit of florals and greenery into this just to add a little something as far as the focal point goes, because we created this really fun background. And then these little leaves here are the Lime Zest cardstock. And then I'm just going to put this other flower over there, placing that down. And I actually do bring in the last little piece of greenery here at the bottom, and I think that finishes off nicely. Okay, let me show you. You're just going to take the lid off of your bits and pieces, and you're going to take that tip and tidy and screw it right onto the top, and then just dump out all of your pieces. And so you can dump as much or as little as you'd like, and then you can just take out use your little wax end tool, your little picker-upper tool, pick up all of your little pieces, and these are champagne glitter and they're so pretty. And I'm going to place a few of those around. And then once that's done, you just lift it up, shake everything back in, take it off, and screw the lid back on. And it is so easy. I love this. What a great idea. Okay, our card is finished. I think this Easter card turned out so fun. I love all of the postcard images. I think they are so, so cute. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.